Good evening and welcome into Ursprung Gymnasium here on the campus of Baldwin Wallace University, where tonight it is a major clash in Ohio Athletic Conference men's wrestling action. It is number 1 versus number 2 in the preseason polls and a top 25 matchup as well, as the Baldwin Wallace Yellow Jackets host the Ohio Northern Polar Bears. Yellow Jackets come into this one ranked 6th in the country. They were 3rd in the standings before the updated rankings came out today, and they currently sit in that 6th spot. Ohio Northern also dropped a little bit. They were at 13th earlier this week. Now the standings have them at 18th, but still a huge clash between these two squads. Starting lineups being announced here currently in the gymnasium as we're about to get this thing going here in just a little bit. Want to welcome everybody in. And also want to remind you that this match is being live streamed here on bwyellowjackets.com as well as OAC TV, and I am Cole McDaniel. So we're going to run through each of these weight classes here in just a moment, but also want to mention that not only is this such a huge clash when it comes to the implications of what's going to happen this season, these two squads and being both expected to be right at the top of the tables, top of the standings in the OAC. The other thing is Ohio Northern, they want to try to spoil a major win streak that the Yellow Jackets have had. BW has won 26 straight OAC matches, an impressive streak they're on right now, and maybe a good opportunity here tonight for the Polar Bears to come in, make some noise in front of a decent BW crowd, see if they can end that streak. As the starting lineups begin here right now, I will do the same thing here at the 125-pound weight class. Johnny Novak is 10-2 so far this year for the Yellow Jackets, and he goes up against Ohio Northern's Colin Millot, who is 7-3 to this point. At the 133-pound weight class, second-ranked Jaden Hinton is a perfect 10-0 so far this year, and he goes up against previously ranked, and last week, Dylan Lee, who's 9-2 so far this year, was 15th. He has dropped out of the poll. Still a good record to this point. Going to be a good matchup there at 133. At the 141-pound weight class, BW's Robbie Palmieri is 11-3 so far this year, and he goes up against the second-ranked guy in the country in Jacob Reed, who's a perfect 9-0 to start this year. Maybe a good opportunity there for Ohio Northern to try to get some team points there at that weight class, but Palmieri, you cannot overlook him at all at that spot. At 149, Yellow Jackets Michael Petrella, who's actually ranked 2nd at the 157-pound weight class. Now, Petrella last year started the year at 157, then was down at 149, was ranked at 149 most of last year into the preseason polls this year. They just moved him because he's been starting the year off at 157. They just moved him in the polls to 157. That's why he's ranked number 2 there. He's back down to 149, and he goes up against Colton Spurgeon of Ohio Northern, who is 6-1 so far this year. At the 157-pound weight class, Tommy West of BW is 6-4 so far this year, and he goes up against Jaden Jones, who's 5-5 so far. At the 165-pound weight class, 13th ranked Andrew Suppers is 9-1, and the young freshman having a good year so far. That is a loaded 165-pound weight room for the Yellow Jackets. Is Hunter Kupnewski. He's the guy who's not going to wrestle in that spot here tonight, but both of those guys are very formidable opponents there. And like I said, happens to be Suppers who they're going with here tonight. For Ohio Northern, it's Tegan Hendricks, who's 7-2 so far this year at the 165-pound weight class. We move to 174. For BW, it's Joey Petrella, who's 9-2 so far this year, going up against Ohio Northern's Adam Myers, who's 5-3. At 184, BW's Carter Lloyd is 9-2 so far this year, and he has a tough test as he's going up against 13th ranked Gavin Lehman, who's also 9-2 so far this year. Lehman dropped in the poll. He was number 6 previously, now still in the top 15 at that 13th spot. At 197, Mitch Sanders, his first time on the mat here this year, and he goes up against Ohio Northern's Cole Williams, who's 8-2 so far this year. And then at heavyweight, number 4 in the country, Doug Burns, a perfect 10-0, a guy who terrorized 197 in previous years, now at that heavyweight spot. And then he goes up against Jaden Brownlee, who is 6-4 of Ohio Northern. Going to step aside here for a few quick moments for the playing of the national anthem, and we'll be right back as we're about to get things started here in just a few moments. And we're back here on BWYellowJackets.com and OAC TV. Taking a look at really the form both of these squads are in here right now. Talked about the talent both of these groups have, and obviously high in the rankings. The Yellow Jackets, their last time out on the mats, it was actually the BW Invitational here at the Lou Higgins Center Fieldhouse, where the Yellow Jackets hosting that tournament. They won that one, coming in first out of 13 teams. Previously that at Heidelberg, they won as a team 50-0. So last couple times out on the mat have been really successful for the Yellow Jackets. As for Ohio Northern, they've had a good start to the year as well, winning versus John Carroll 24-15. And then their last time out tournament up at Olivet. And that one, they lost to Wisconsin Whitewater, but they did win against Muskegon as well as Alma. Before we get things going here at 125 pounds, want to remind everybody that this evening's Yellow Jackets wrestling match is being brought to you by BSN Sports and Nike, the official apparel and uniform provider for Yellow Jacket athletics. University Hospital's Drzezinski Sports Medicine Institute, proud official healthcare provider for BW Athletics and its student athletes, as well as Dan Andrews and Olympic Forest Products, a global recycling company. You're listening to Yellow Jacket Men's Wrestling on BWYellowJackets.com and OAC TV. So I mentioned it just a little bit ago, but if you missed it, here at the 125-pound weight class, it is Johnny Novak, who's 10-2 so far this year, up against Colin Malott, who's 7-3. And it's Novak who's the aggressor early and gets Malott to his back right away. So he's got the 2 points right now. Malott doing a good job getting out of that one, but some back points there. So 3 up on the board here so far for Novak at the start of the first period. There's the escape point for Malott. Both wrestlers up on their feet. Malott's a junior from Wapakoneta. So both upperclassmen, as Novak's a senior. Went to high school at St. Ignatius. So far after that early action, again, both of these wrestlers showing each other a little bit of respect here right now, just trying to feel each other out. Neither trying to get overly aggressive, take a shot in. So far, the defensive position for both defending quite well. Down to 1 minute and 15 seconds left here in the opening period. For Novak, of his 10 wins so far this year, 4 of them have been falls, 3 tech falls. So again, he's been impressive so far to start this year. Down to 45 seconds left, still 3-1 up on the scoreboard. And only 9 seconds of riding time so far for Novak, as that was a quick escape for Malat. Wondered if this was going to be a high-flying opening period based off of how it started. Began to slow down right now. Malat thinking about taking a shot there. Defended by Novak, and clock is going to tick down, and that does it for the opening period, with Novak currently leading 3-1. And to start the second period, you're going to see Malat in the down position. And Novak doesn't really have any riding time up there. 9 seconds to this point. We'll see if he tries to rack up that time here to start things off. Have to give Malat a lot of credit there in the opening period. Looked like there was going to be significant back points, but he fought out of that very quickly. Was in a dangerous position right away. It felt like all the momentum was really going the way of Novak. But right now, this is probably going the way that Malat would have wanted. After the escape, 3-2 up on the board here right now in favor of Novak. Only 35 seconds of riding time up there for the Yellow Jackets 125-pounder. One minute now remaining in the second period. There's a shot, Novak in on the leg. And both these wrestlers really trying to get position. No points awarded here yet to this point. Looks like Novak's going to maybe be able to get to this one. Still nothing. Still no call from the official. A lot of shouting from the teammates of Novak. And there you have it. Well defended there from Malat for a while. Now the escape. And that's going to do it for the second period. At the end of the second period, Colin Malat has a 6-5 advantage over Johnny Novak. Head coach Jamie Gibbs, in his 13th year as head coach of the Yellow Jackets, runs a really, really great program here. Wasn't too happy with the officials' call there. And Novak got the 2 points on that takedown. Like I said, at the same time, Malat was really given his 2 points on what appeared to be a reversal there, but then got his escape, and that's why he's currently in the lead here right now. And a stall Call going against Malott there. Still 6-5 in favor of the visitor here to get this night started off. Well done by Novak to get 2 points. He's got that arm back. Malott is in deep. Novak trying to see what he can do. Racking up the riding time right now. Just over a minute left here in this final period. Malott's really wrestled well. And it looks like he's going to be able to roll out of that. 4 points awarded. So now it's 11-6 in favor of Novak. Felt like it was really 50-50, could go either way. But that really changed the momentum of how things are swinging here. 2 points for Malott. So he's now just down 3. Cutting into that riding time. Looks like he's going to be able to get this underneath a minute with 30 seconds left remaining. Malott's going to have to find a way to try to get Novak turned to see if he can get some back points. Doing what he can here right now. Novak showing off the flexibility there and the shoulder mobility he had there on the edge of the mat, off to the far side. And what an opening to this one here tonight. 3 seconds left, 2 seconds. There you have it. A decision victory for Johnny Novak over Colin Malott, giving 3 points to the Yellow Jackets. And if that is really any taste, an appetizer to what we're going to see here tonight between these two teams, well, we're in for a good one, that is for sure. As that was neck and neck almost the whole way. Credit to Johnny Novak, the senior, doing what he needed to do in the third period to ultimately get the win there. So now we move to the 133-pound weight class. And after Novak gives his team 3 points, second-ranked Jaden Hinton, who's perfect on the year so far, goes up against Dylan Lee, who's talented himself. As I'd mentioned, had previously been ranked 15th, 9-2 so far this year. He did fall out of those top 15 rankings, but this is a good matchup here as well at 133. I have to say, though, Lee really has to wrestle his heart out here tonight against Hinton. Hinton looking for a shot. There we go, Lee in on the legs. Sprawling back is Hinton on the edge of the mat. Toes just in for Lee, and they're going to be out right in front of the seats there of Ohio Northern's bench, and they'll return to the middle of the mat. Almost 1 minute wrestled so far here in the opening period. Still zeros on the board. Hinton drives in. Lee doing a really nice job there to maintain his balance on the near side of the mat, and they're going to walk out and return back to the middle. Still zeros on the board. Currently in the rankings, Jaden Hinton only behind Tyler Fleetwood of up in Wisconsin, actually. So again, really just down past one person there in the rankings. If he continues to wrestle like he has this year, again, maybe he could find himself in that top spot this year. We will wait and see. Has the test at hand here right now with Lee, who's wrestling him tough here at the moment. No points on the board for either of these two at the 133-pound weight class, with 2 minutes wrestled so far here in the opening period. An upset here for Lee would be massive for the Polar Bears here tonight. As I mentioned previously, that they're trying to snap that 26-match Ohio Athletic Conference win streak that the Yellow Jackets currently have. But there's Hinton driving through Lee, taking him to the mat. As Hinton scores first. He's trying to get Lee to his back. Feet just barely in the circle here still, as they're up along the right side of the mat. Down to 10 seconds remaining in the opening period. And 3 more points awarded for Hinton. So a commanding 6-0 lead currently held by Hinton after a scoreless first 2 minutes in the opening period. Hinton goes over to the trainer briefly, and he will be in the down position here to start the second period. Has 35 seconds of riding time to this point. See how much of that time Lee can cut into here. Hinton doing a really nice job fighting out of that one and manages to get out just about 10 seconds after the second period started. So the 1 point now makes it 7-0. Hinton drops to his knees, tried to get to that lower level, decided not the time to take the shot there, backed out of it. Hinton trying to turn on the speed, well defended by Lee initially, and then the finish there from Hinton to drive through the legs. 2 points for the takedown. And now adding on to the riding time here right now. The coaches and Hinton smelling some blood in the water here right now. Want to let Lee up, let Hinton add on to his score right now. Be the aggressor, get some more points, and see if you can get significant team points for the Yellow Jackets. 32 seconds remaining in the second period. 10-1 on the scoreboard. Lee in on the leg of Hinton. Trying to take him down. Hinton doing a good job keeping that right leg away as Lee's trying to work his way back behind him. They run out of time here in this period with just 4 seconds left. And there you have it. So well defended by Hinton there. It's 10-1 into the second period. We move to the third. And they're going to start in a neutral position here. And Hinton just driving through the legs, a quick shot. And the finishing power there to take Lee to the mat. He's going to let him up. So there's the escape point and going back at him again. And there's another 2 points. And they're just outside of the circle here, right in front of the scores table on the near side of the floor. They'll return back to the middle of the mat, 16-3. With 1.5 minutes left in the final period. Initial shot defended by Lee there. Hinton, the takedown again. And there you have it. So a technical fall for Jaden Hinton over Dylan Lee. Well done by the second-ranked wrestler in the country at 133 pounds. And those 5 points for the Yellow Jackets now makes it a team score of 8-0. Going into the 141-pound weight class, and Robbie Palmieri, who's 11-3 so far this year for BW, he has a very tough test as it's the second-ranked wrestler in the country at this weight class in Jacob Reed, who's a perfect 9-0 so far this year. I mentioned right before this thing started, though, Palmieri certainly could be a threat to Reed in this one. Palmieri's a senior from Pennsylvania who has experience, and as I mentioned, has had a really good start to this year. But again, Reed's a guy like Hinton in the weight class before who has not been beat so far, and as I mentioned as well, sits in that number 2 spot. Gets the takedown here to start this thing off in the opening period. And currently has 20 seconds of riding time. They're going to be out of the circle on the far side of the mat. They'll return back to the middle of the mat here, with Palmieri still in the down position. One minute wrestled so far in the opening period. So you're watching and listening live on bwyellowjackets.com and OAC TV. Reed nearly up to a minute so far on the riding time. So far, this opening period really going the way of the junior from Canal Winchester. Went to high school at Lancaster. And still working on top of Palmieri right now. With now a minute and a half of riding time added up so far in the opening period. Under a minute remaining in the first period. Still a score of 3-0 up on the board, as Ohio Northern looking to get their first team points of the night on the road here at Ursprung Gymnasium. Over 2 minutes of riding time, and that face of Palmieri really shoved in the mat right now. Reed's just wearing him down. Has to be exhausting to be in that down position, just trying to fight to get up the entire period. Reed trying to get Palmieri to his back, but going to run out of time here into the first. Does get a point. So we move to the second period with a score of 4-0. Reed's going to start in the down position here in the second. An opportunity for Palmieri to potentially cut into that riding time a little bit right now that was up to 2.5 minutes. There's the escape point for Reed. Only about 10 seconds cut into that riding time. Reed dropping a level there. Now Paul Mary dropping his knees. His shot in, doesn't pan out. Reed successful on his shot, getting in on the legs. Paul Mary has a hold of the ankles of Reed here right now. And that one's kind of a stalemate, not going anywhere. Well defended by Paul Mary. Still 5-0 up on the board. .30 seconds left in the second period. And we tick down due. 3, 2, and that shot was right at the buzzer there. And maybe about a second or two too late there for Reed. Not going to score on what would have ended up being a takedown. So it's still 5-0, and both of these wrestlers are going to be in a neutral position, and quickly see Paul Mary drop to his knees again. And trying to get low. See about an opportunity to get in on a shot, but hasn't really had any good opportunities against Reed so far. Opportunity here for Paul Mary. Paul Mary gets Reed in a really bad spot. Got the takedown. Keep in mind, riding time is locked up here. Paul Mary just trailing by 2. Keep in mind, again, that riding time. It does continue to tick down. There is just a 1 second difference between the riding time and the clock up on the board. But, you know, riding time is going to end up being locked up because Paul Mary has to get something to happen. He's got to take some shots. Find a way to get a takedown, but the clock is not his friend here right now. It's at 6-3 because of the escape from Reed. Keep in mind, of course, the riding time, that's going to be another point for him. So it would end up finishing 7-3 unless anything changes. Paul Mary has 10 seconds in on the leg of Reed. Trying to flip him. Reed looking up at the clock. Paul Mary trying to make something happen, and he's going to run out of time. But a really nice fight here by Robbie Paul Mary up against the second-ranked wrestler at 141 in Jacob Reed, who will stay perfect on the year so far and win this one 7-3. So the decision there makes this top 25 matchup, this clash between the Yellow Jackets and the Polar Bears, a little bit closer. Team score of 8-3 in favor of the Yellow Jackets. And Jacob Reed is getting up a little bit limp there, hobbling and feeling it after that match. But we move to 149 now as Michael Petrella, who's ranked second in the country at the 157-pound weight class. Mind you, again, he's a guy who we've seen at 157, we've seen at 149. Tonight, wrestling at 149. And he's perfect 6-0 so far this year. had really been spending most of this year at 157 to this point. Going up against Colton Spurgeon, who's 6-1 so far, but a really tough test against Petrella, who gets on the board early. So far this year for Petrella, of his 6 victories he's had to this point, 4 have been tech falls, 1 a major decision, and 1 other a decision. So after dropping some team points just a few moments ago, a lot of credit to Palmieri, obviously, for wrestling really tough against a talented wrestler and only giving up 3 points with the decision there. It's an opportunity for the Yellow Jackets to get some major team points here in this weight class in the first half of the night. Looking to make their win streak against OAC opponents 27. Halfway through the opening period, still 3-0 in favor of Michael Petrella. The senior from Reynoldsburg. Both Michael and Joey Petrella seniors, and they both went to Bishop Hartley. You'll see Joey Petrella later at the 174-pound weight class. But right now, it's Michael's opportunity to make something happen on the mat. Give him a few more points there. And really deep position here. Awkward spot for Spurgeon. And there you have it. Gets the pin and the fall. 16 points for the Yellow Jackets. First pin of the year for Michael Petrella. And those 16 points come up huge for the Yellow Jackets as they now lead 14-3. So that was a tough one for Colton Spurgeon, the sophomore from Mount Vernon. We'll see if his teammate Jaden Jones here at the 157-pound weight class can make something happen against BW's Tommy West, who's 6-4 so far this year. Jaden Jones 5-5. This could be a good one here at this weight class. Two wrestlers who both have something to prove. West does have 1 pin so far this year. 2 tech falls and 2 major decisions. But he finds himself trailing here early, down 3-0. There's the escape point, his first points on the night. So 3-1 now with just over 2 minutes remaining in the opening period. So after the quick points for Jaden Jones to get this thing started, both of these wrestlers still feeling each other out, trying to find an opportunity to maybe take a smart shot. See about trying to get in on the legs. West thought about it there, got off balance, but Jones was really unable to get in on what looked like a stumbling West. Now West has an opportunity if he can get that ankle free. Find a way to get behind Jones, maybe get 2 points here. Jones doing all he can do to hold on. West breaks free. West puts him to the mat. And there you have the points. 3 points up on the board now. for Tommy West. Now 4-3 to be exact. Clock continues to tick down. So still 4-3 up there on the board. Riding time beginning to stack up a little bit here now for West. Had a good stretch on top. Going to end the period with about 39 seconds of riding time and be leading 4-3 after one. Excuse me. Again, get some points added there right at the end. Right at the last there from the official. So 8-3. Now what's up on the board? So commanding lead so far for West. All the teammates there for the Yellow Jackets, they always do a great job of filling up a section of the stands here at Ursprung Gymnasium and giving support to their teammates. Decently full stands off to the far side as well for this one. Been a snowy and cold last 24 hours here in Northeast Ohio, but everybody in here enjoying being inside in the warm gymnasium, taking in some great action. Mentioned previously before this thing got started, this is number 1 and number 2 in the OAC preseason polls. BW, of course, expected to be that number 1 team, and Ohio Northern number 2. So far, the Yellow Jackets showing why they were anticipated to be number 1, why they've been number 1 for quite a few years now. Ohio Northern going to have a lot of work to do in the second half of this night if they want to find a way to get out of here with a team victory. Right now in this matchup at 157, it's West with an 11-3 lead. And he gets 3 more points. Put 3 up on the board. Or 4 fingers up for the official, so make that 15-3, and then the escape now for Jones, 15-4. A minute and 17 seconds of riding time for West. We're down to 10 seconds left in the second period. So coming into this matchup, this weight class here tonight, expected that maybe this one could be a toss-up. Maybe this is one that the Polar Bears could snag. And I'll tell you what, Tommy West is saying, nope, not tonight, not going to happen. 18-4, start of the third period. Could be more points for West, and there's the tech fall. So 3 team points now for the Yellow Jackets. Really nicely done by Tommy West at the 157-pound weight class to add on to his team's lead. And so after finishing up here at the 157-pound weight class, we're going to have a 10-minute intermission before we hit the second half of the night. But the Yellow Jackets hold a really nice 19-3 team lead over the 18th ranked visiting Ohio Northern Polar Bears. Before we step aside here for the intermission, I want to remind everybody that tonight's Yellow Jacket men's wrestling match is being brought to you by the Oswald Company, risk and insurance leaders since 1893. Chuck Rotuno and OE Connection LLC, your global automotive technology provider. and Medical Mutual of Ohio, the official healthcare provider of Baldwin Wallace University. You are listening to Yellow Jacket Wrestling on bwyellowjackets.com and OAC TV. For myself, Cole McDaniel, don't go anywhere here on bwyellowjackets.com and OAC TV. We'll be back in about 9 minutes for the start of the 165-pound weight class, and we will continue to work up from there. And we're back here on BWYellowJackets.com and OAC TV. I'm Cole McDaniel. We're here at Ursprung Gymnasium on the campus of Baldwin Wallace University. The Yellow Jackets hold a 19-3 team advantage over Ohio Northern. The Polar Bears ranked 18th and the Yellow Jackets ranked 6th. What a matchup between these two OAC powerhouses, but so far at home, the Yellow Jackets doing what they've done 26 times in a row against OAC opponents, and that is win. We will see what happens in the second part of the evening. But also want to say something here really quick as well. Something that obviously going to take the wrestling community a little bit of time to adjust to, myself included, all the wrestlers. Takedowns this year in college wrestling worth 3 points back in June. That was proposed and accepted and put into place to encourage attacking wrestling and reward wrestlers for being on their feet, supposedly, according to the Rules Committee. Again, that is why you see some of these probably quick scoring matches as well, as you're able to get points a little bit faster, certainly with those takedowns now being 3. Before we get things started here with 13th ranked Andrew Suppers versus Tegan Hendricks at the 165-pound weight class, want to remind everybody out there that tonight's Yellow Jacket wrestling match is being brought to you by Barron's Bus Lines, the official charter bus company of Yellow Jacket Athletics, Mike's Bar and Grill in downtown Berea, a great place before or after any Yellow Jacket event, and Antonio's Pizzeria of Middleburg Heights, the official pizza sponsor of Yellow Jacket Athletics. You are listening to Yellow Jacket Men's Wrestling on BWYellowJackets.com and OAC TV. So Andrew Suppers, 13th ranked in the country, 9-1 so far this year. Tegan Hendricks, good record so far this year himself at 7-2. Suppers is a very talented freshman out of Medina. Mentioned this 165-pound weight class is stacked for BW. Multiple choices of guys they can send out there. Suppers is in the top 15 of the rankings and has had a very impressive year, but can't forget about Hunter Kupniewski, who's 9-1 so far this year, the senior from North Royalton. But with his team currently holding a solid advantage, 19-3, Suppers is going to look to see if he can get the first points here in this match at 165 pounds. Right now, Hendricks has a hold of the right ankle of Suppers and trying to fight this off. Still no points awarded yet. And wouldn't be surprised if this one ends up in a stalemate here in just a moment, and yes, it is. So well done there by Hendricks. And these two wrestlers will go back to the middle of the mat in the neutral position. Still zeros on the board, just over a minute remaining in the opening period. Hendricks is a junior from Jamestown. Went to high school at Greenview. And right now trying to make something happen. Really nice job there by Suppers, dropping his weight back, getting out of that one, and then getting the takedown. 3 points. And starts the scoring with just under 30 seconds remaining here in the opening period. Down to 10 seconds. Nice move there by Hendricks. 2-point reversal. It's now 3-2 in favor of Suppers. He's going to start the second period in the down position. Currently holds 31 seconds of riding time. We'll see how much of that time Hendricks is able to cut into here right now, and see if he just tries to operate in that top position here for as long as possible. Riding time for Suppers almost gone at this point. And it officially is now, as Hendricks has been working in that top position here for almost 40 seconds. Suppers really dropping that weight back into Hendricks there. Looked like he might have had an opportunity to get out of that, but still Hendricks staying on top, kind of sliding up towards the shoulders, towards the arms. Under a minute remaining in this period. Still Suppers holds a 3-2 lead. Some cheers from the crowd of the Yellow Jackets, and there you have it. Hendricks was kind of sliding down, and Suppers just continued to work and work and work. Got the reversal, 2 points, now 5-2. Going to be able to cut into the riding time of Hendricks now. It's about 15 seconds left in the second period. So as we move to the third, the talented freshman holds a 5-2 lead. Ranked 13th in the country. Only fallen once so far in the early stages of this year, with the one loss. Of the 9 victories for the freshman, 2 have been falls, 4 tech falls. 3 decisions. As Hendricks in an awkward spot here right now. Definitely going to come away with back points. Matter of if anything more comes of that. Hendricks does a nice job spinning out of it. But still, the way that shoulder, that arm is positioned, Suppers has him deep in a tough spot. Hendricks showing off the flexibility, doing his best to stay up. And there's the fall for the freshman, Andrew Suppers. 16 points for the Yellow Jackets. 25-3, they lead over the Ohio Northern Polar Bears. And this crowd is loving every bit of that. As we move to the 174-pound weight class, Joey Petrella, 9-2 this year, up against Adam Myers of Ohio Northern, who's 5-3 so far this year. Know that Michael Petrella is a very talented wrestler, and Joey Petrella out here on the mat here right now, looking to extend his team's advantage. The aggressor here in this one, looking to get the opening 3 points. And he does with the initial takedown at just 20 seconds into the opening period. Joey Petrella, one of the veterans here of this squad. Mentioned earlier that he is one of the seniors. And his opponent in Myers, also an upperclassman, a junior from Springfield, went to STEM Academy. Petrella still on top here right now, has a minute of riding time to this point. A minute and a half remaining in the opening period. Of the 9 victories so far this year for Petrella, 2 have been falls. Excuse me, 1 has been a fall. 8 have been tech falls. So just has the 1 pin so far this year, but he's put up a lot of points, obviously, in all those victories. So far has just really been wearing down his opponent in Myers, and we'll see if that really benefits Petrella come the second and third period. You would have to think so. See if he gets aggressive and really starts firing and letting Myers up and trying to rack up the points. Nearly 2 minutes of riding time so far, down to 50 seconds remaining in this period. And ever since the opening takedown, it's really slowed down as Petrella's really just outmanned Myers. They return back to the center of the mat. Petrella working from the top. Myers gets out with the escape. So 1 point. And Petrella looking for those maybe slivers of opportunity he has to take a shot. See about adding to his lead here before the end of the first period. Down to 15 seconds left. Gets in on the right leg. And he gets the 3 points, so 6-1. And that's going to do it for the opening period. Commanding lead so far for Joey Petrella. And the riding time shows how commanding it was. 2 minutes and 10 seconds so far. So over 2/3 of that opening period was spent with Petrella working from that top position. And just wearing down Myers. Now Myers, he's working from the top. Cutting into the riding time just a little bit here right now. The way things are going, I don't think he's going to be able to keep Petrella from escaping for too long. Petrella was nearly able to get out of that. Got to the edge of the circle and stepped out. And they'll return back to the middle. Petrella still in the down position. And he escapes. So 1 more point for Petrella, 7-1. He'll go back to work. Myers just slips out of that shot as Petrella was grabbing at the right ankle. A couple times Petrella's really gone in at that right leg, and Myers, for a second time in a row, was able to avoid that one. But then just going the opposite direction, Petrella might have surprised Myers there, gets the 3-point takedown, 10-2 now after the 1-point escape. Petrella going back to work again, this time on the right leg, trying to drive through and take Myers to the mat. No points yet so far. 30 seconds left in the second period. Great move there by Petrella, showing off his speed. It's now 14-2. With less than 10 seconds remaining in the second period. I think the second stanza is really going to come to an end with that 14-2 score, and 2 minutes and 15 seconds of riding time racked up for Joey Petrella so far.
Your score is 14-2 for Joey Petrella.
So Petrella's right where he wants to be. Mentioned how many tech falls he already has to start this year. Really been his MO so far. And the way this is trending, looks like that riding time point probably is going to end up getting locked up. So one more takedown for Petrella, and again, could end up with a tech fall here. There's the escape. So 1 point for Adam Myers. And there you have the 3 for Petrella. Gonna take one more time actually, because of that escape point. So there's one more point for Myers. 17-4. Petrella a little slow on that shot there. No, he's going to go back to work here under a minute left. And there's the 3 and the tech fall. 5 points for BW, coming by way of Joey Petrella at the 174-pound weight class. Starts off his year 10-2, so in double figures now. And it's 31-3, the team score for BW, commanding advantage over the visiting Polar Bears. And we move to 184 with Carter Lloyd, also 9-2 so far this year, up against 13th ranked Gavin Lehman, who's 9-2 himself. Lehman was actually ranked 6th in the country until the poll that came out today. Both of these wrestlers very talented. Identical records. Going to be a tough one for Lloyd here, but Lloyd has had a good start to the season, as I mentioned. Of his 9 victories, 4 have been falls, 1 tech fall, 1 major decision. So far, 30 seconds into the opening period of this match at the 184-pound weight class. Still zeros up on the board, both of these wrestlers continuing to feel each other out. Lloyd is a junior from Brecksville, went to Brecksville Broadview Heights for high school. And his opponent in Lehman is also a junior from Chesterton, Indiana. So both juniors. And both still have 0 up on the board here right now. And apologies, just a few moments ago. Again, that team score was 25-3. And the tech fall, again, should have been 15 points up there. Scoreboard went to 31 instead of 30. That got corrected, so now it shows correct score up on the board, 30-3. Lloyd gets the initial takedown. 3-0 in favor of Carter Lloyd. About 2 minutes into this opening stanza, decides to take his shot, and it panned out. Got a hold of the one leg, had it up, and Lehman not able to hop out of that one as Lloyd was able to kick out the other leg. There's the escape for 1 point, now 3-1. .30 seconds remaining. If either of these wrestlers want to take a shot here right at the end, they're run out of time. Down to 6 seconds. Down to 5. And that's going to do it for the opening period. Carter Lloyd leading 3-1. Gets plenty of claps from the crowd for his effort so far. Start of the second, he will begin in the down position as Lehman will cut into the little bit of riding time that Lloyd has so far. It's 27 seconds up on the board. And that's going to dissipate very quickly here. That left leg of Lloyd is just hooked right now by Lehman, right behind the knee of the right leg of Lehman. And the riding time is flipped as Gavin Lehman now has 15 seconds of riding time, and adding on to it, 1 minute and 15 seconds remaining in the second period. Still Lehman trails by 2, 3-1. So 37 seconds of riding time so far for Lehman. We'll go back to the middle of the mat with Lloyd in the down position. Lloyd trying to get to his feet. Looked like he was nearly going to get out there trying to spin out of it. Return back to the mat. And what is shaping up to be a really tight battle here at the 184-pound weight class. Lehman potentially wearing down Lloyd here. Could be very helpful going into the third and final stanza. We're 20 seconds away from that, though. Over 1 minute and 15 seconds of riding time now for Lehman. Down to 1 second, and that will do it. So 1.5 minutes now of riding time for Gavin Lehman. Still 3-1. And Lehman will start in the down position. Lloyd working from the top. Again, want to cut down on that riding time that Lehman has. 1 minute of riding time would get him a point. So want to chip away. No escape there. Right before it looked like Lehman was going to get out, Lloyd returned him back to the mat. So whistle blows there. Brief stoppage here with 1.5 minutes and 7 seconds now of riding time for Lehman, as we've seen about 23 seconds chopped off. A minute and a half remaining in the final period. Still 3-1 in favor of Carter Lloyd. Lloyd has the riding time to under a minute. And there's the escape now. So 1 point for Lehman. 3-2. Still Lloyd up. They're going to have to be smart here in the final minute. The look at the shot in from Lehman, and quickly reacting and sprawling back was Lloyd. Another opportunity there from Lehman. Defended well by Lloyd. 45 seconds left. Plenty of time for Lehman to make something happen. Lloyd just playing smart. Very defensive right now. We'll see if he catches Lehman by surprise, maybe takes a shot of his own. Both really grappling for position right now. Hand fighting. Diving back was Lloyd. And here's Lloyd, takes a shot. He's in on the legs. And he puts Lehman on the mat for 3 points. And there you have it, a decision for Carter Lloyd. And he takes down the 13th ranked Gavin Lehman. Improves to 10-2 on the year. Lehman drops to 9-3. Would not be surprised with that victory if you now see Carter Lloyd in the rankings come the next polls that come out because of that victory. And that's a nice 3 team points for the Yellow Jackets, as the 6th ranked Baldwin Wallace Yellow Jackets have a commanding 33-3 team lead over the 18th ranked Ohio Northern Polar Bears. Now at 197, Mitch Sanders going up against Cole Williams, who is 8-2 so far this year. Sanders, a senior from Newberry. Cole Williams, a freshman from Cumming, Georgia. Went to South Forsyth for high school. So you have experience versus youth when it comes to at least time in a wrestling room in college. But not too much time on the mat so far this year for Mitch Sanders. He was looking to start the scoring off, nearly got the takedown. Williams did a good job fending that one off, getting back to his feet. So still zeros on the board, 1 minute wrestled so far in the opening period. A little bit of hand fighting, grabbing at the wrists here right now. Sanders taking a shot, not going to pan out. Williams tried to make a move of his own, still nothing. They're going to walk out of the circle there in the middle of the mat, and they will return back to the middle right over the Stinger logo. have to mention the nice new mat that the Yellow Jackets have. Looks good down there on the floor. Appears like from the way the light's shining on, a gray color there. The old mat you may have seen or remember from past years again was brown down there on the floor. So this one's, like I said, looks like it's in tip-top shape, pristine condition. We're going to have a brief pause in the action as Coach Jamie Gibbs talking some things over with the official here right in front of the scorer's table, as 1 point was awarded to Cole Williams. So we're back underway here with Sanders trailing 1-0. Just a touch over 30 seconds remaining. After this one at 197, again, everything will wrap up at the heavyweight division with Doug Byrne, getting a very talented wrestler there who previously very, very dominant, 197 in the past. He's a guy who kind of still looks like a 197 wrestler out there, but he's big, he's strong, and he's quicker than most heavyweights out there. Certainly going to be tough for most people to deal with in that heavyweight division. Here at 197, though, Williams had a really nice takedown there. Sanders plopped him right on his back, so got the back points. So holds a 7-0 advantage here. Been a while since the Polar Bears have picked up any team points here tonight, but maybe some potential to do so here. So mention the nice new mat down there on the floor, and we get our first blood timeout here of the night, as it appears like it's coming off of the head there of Cole Williams. It's getting cleaned up right now by the trainer for Ohio Northern. So during the brief pause in the action here right now, obviously this was the big matchup in the Ohio Athletic Conference here that everybody would have been paying attention to tonight. The other matchups, Heidelberg at Muskingum, as well as Wilmington at Mount Union. That was the other action, like I said, going on currently at this moment this evening. And we're about to get things back underway here, where Williams is going to be starting in the top position, as before that blood timeout. He got the takedown and the back points and leads 7-0. We move to the second period. Wondered if there had been a touch more time remaining in the first period before the blood timeout, rather than moving to the second, what it shows on the board here right now. Both coaches are having a discussion. The officials having a discussion over at the scores table. And there you have it. 6 seconds remaining in the opening period. So they do add the time back on the clock. So they got it fixed to put the 6 seconds up there. And then they just had an issue and it went up to a little bit longer than 6 seconds. So now fixed again. Get this back underway. And the 6 seconds is going to fly by really fast. So no scoring there to wrap that up. Move to 7-0 is the score. Still going into the second period, but they're going to get the start really quickly here. Keep things moving along. Sanders gets the takedown. His first points. Oh, excuse me. And he was in that top position, so again, just returned him back to the mat. So adding on to some riding time here right now. And brief pause in the action here again. Going to step aside for a second during this blood timeout again for Cole Williams. We'll be right back here on BWYellowJackets.com and OAC TV. And we're back here with 1 minute and 35 seconds remaining in the second period. The 197-pound weight class as you're watching, listening on BWYellowJackets.com and OAC TV. Some back points there for Cole Williams, adding to his lead. Nine to nothing so far for Williams. The escape for Sanders gets him 1 point. A minute now remaining in the period. Sanders is a way to go if he wants to try to get back in this one. Williams has been the aggressor and the dominant one so far. Takes Sanders to the mat. Gets 3 more points on the takedown. And Sanders was actually the one with the riding time of really less than 10 seconds. Williams now is going to add on to the riding time himself, up to 5 seconds so far. Can continue to add to that here the last little bit of the second period. Escape right before the end of the second. There goes the horn, 14-2, and we move to the third. So Williams just letting Sanders up. 1 point on the escape. Sanders then actually the aggressor in on the initial shot. Arms just not quite long enough to keep a hold of the back of those legs, trying to grab right around the hamstring area, and Williams doing a really good job getting on top there for a couple more points. 17-4 now after the escape. And there you have it. A tech fall for Cole Williams. Gives his team 5 points. Still a very commanding lead for the Yellow Jackets, and they're going to win this thing tonight. But it's 33-8 now, and we move to the conclusion of our night at heavyweight. It's 4th-ranked Doug Byrne, who's a perfect 10-0 this year, up against Jaden Brownlee, who's 6-4 so far this year, and Byrne is extremely dominant. Mentioned no losses so far this year. Of his 10 victories, 7 have been pins. He is a menace at the heavyweight division, as I mentioned, really built differently than a lot of the heavyweights. Taller, and really muscular, but also then just quicker. So has a leaner frame than most heavyweights. And that can play to his advantage. Byrne, an experienced guy, senior from Wycliffe. Brownlee, his opponent, actually also a senior as well. From Powell, went to Olentangy Liberty for high school. And just a little over 20 seconds in, still zeros up on the board. Just some hand fighting here right now, trying to gain position. Brownlee just trying to toss Byrne there. Byrne keeping his balance very well. A minute gone so far in the opening period. Still no scoring to this point. Byrne has not really tried to take a shot here yet so far. We'll see what he tries to do against his opponent here. Brownlee making the initial move, gets in on the right leg. Byrne doing a nice job to fend that off initially. Strong on the mat. And he's going to get an opportunity to get the initial points there. So Brownlee was the aggressor. Looked like he was going to come away with 3 instead. Byrne fends it off and capitalizes on 3 points himself. 3-0 up on the board with a minute remaining in the opening period, and he's going for the pin. There you have it. 8th pin of the year already so far for Byrne, and it felt like he didn't even have to sweat it there. 6 points for the Yellow Jackets, and they get their 27th straight OAC match victory. 39-8 is the score as things wrap up here from Ursprung Gymnasium. Well, this top 25 matchup certainly went the way of 6th-ranked Baldwin Wallace. Wouldn't be surprised if the next polls come out again, depending upon how other things go here in December as well. You're going to see, I'm sure, BW maybe slide up the ranks here a little bit. Ohio Northern going to probably fall from their 18th spot tough loss on the road, but it's certainly a tough place to come to and try to get a victory. Next up for the Yellow Jackets on Saturday the 9th, they travel to North Central Illinois. Then on the 16th, they go to Nashville, Tennessee. And start of January, then it's the NWCA National Duels in Cedar Falls, Iowa. So a lot of traveling between Illinois, Tennessee, and Iowa upcoming, and a little over a month of action right around the holiday season. As for Ohio Northern, the visitors, well, they go to West Virginia, West Liberty, West Virginia to be exact, for the Hilltopper Duels. That's next up after the ONU Invitational, their 42nd, as they host that on Saturday, December 2nd. So that's coming up over the course of this weekend. For myself, Cole McDaniel, I want to thank everybody for watching and listening live here on BWYellowJackets.com and OAC TV. That's going to wrap it up. Enjoy the rest of your week. I'll be back here for basketball action tomorrow. Have a good one.